I have been privileged today with the task of bidding you welcome. So in keeping with tradition and etiquette, let me begin by acknowledging the presence of the Honorable Minister, Mistress Rita Bourne-Gums. Also the Secretary Generals, the department heads, and other key players in the political establishment. I would also like to single out the members of the board of the University of Sint Maarten Foundation, the director of the SHCA, Ms. Ananda Sandam, and other members of the business community. I'm also gladdened by the presence of representatives of civil associations and members of the press. Now I turn to you, the staff, students, faculty, and other invited guests. It goes without saying that even though I name you last, it does not mean you are lost, because a university is, of course, an egalitarian place. Although we know not everyone is created equal, yes. Although not everyone is created equal, we know, and in society not everyone is equal, but in here we try to treat each other in an equitable manner. That's what we try to do at a university. I'd like to acknowledge also, of course, the MPs, Leona Marlin Romeo and MP De Wever. Now, without further ado, because today what we came here together is actually to talk about how far we've come, what we have been doing, and of course to give thanks to those persons who have been helping us with all of this. So I'm going to start actually by introducing Mr. Vasco Dahl, the representative of the board, who will actually explain what we have been doing and where we are.
We have been able to achieve something thought to be impossible. After 25 years, USM is now able to offer dual accreditation under the English Qualifications and Credit Network, BTEC, as well as the American Hotel and Lodging Education Institute, the latter being AHLEI, the largest hospitality educator in the world. This is a milestone for USM, which originated from the vision of the late Dr. Claude Wati and Ambassador Ansari. Both saw the necessity for the education and development of hospitality on Sint Maarten. We now have the opportunity to offer accredited programs locally and not as an extension campus. The road to accreditation was not easy. It has taken 25 years. For the 4 years that I've been on the board, our number one priority was to keep the USM open. I have a business background, and I can tell you, accreditation is very expensive. It is not easily attainable either. Accredited programs require full-time faculty. The institution must be financially sustainable, and you need library and other learning resources, IT database, a good infrastructure in place as well. USM currently receives less than 1% of the government's educational budget. This is less than $500,000. UVI receives, our extension campus, receives 28 million from their government. The Anguilla Community College has received acres of land and millions to invest in its campus. Since 10-10-10, USM has not been recognized by the government of Sint Maarten as the institution for tertiary education. We, however, remain hopeful that our leaders in government will see and recognize that USM is the tertiary education of Sint Maarten and invest in tertiary education locally as well. It is mostly because of the business community, their support, that we've been able to develop dual accreditation now. USM is not stopping at hospitality, though, when it comes to development of our human capital. Dr. Gittens, who's on the panel here, has vigorously worked on the CEL program, which develops our labor force in a multitude of skills. We are now able to customize programs for the needs of local businesses. Think of it as our secretaries, our front office, our back office personnel. We look forward to continue working with the business community, developing and investing in human capital, custom-made training programs as well. But it is through the hard work, commitment, and dedication under the leadership of Dr. Francio Guadalupe, with the management and staff of USM, that we've been able to achieve so much with so little. Congratulations, Dr. Francio Guadalupe, to you, your team, for pursuing the accreditation, bringing it home, and ultimately helping develop our nation. Thank you. Of course, there are many details to go along, so I'll give the floor to Aaron Wolthaus, who will provide more details on the BTech.
There's 3 key words there, all starting with A. We were looking for affirmation, articulation, and accreditation. We started with a new vision document from management in April 2014, and we formulated 3 main objectives. The graduates of USM's program, so also the hospitality and tourism program, should be employable in the local industry. That's one of our main objectives, because if you can't get a job after getting the degree, what's it all for? Secondly, we have to make sure that our students getting an associate degree, which is 2 years of tertiary education, are eligible to continue their education in both the United States and Europe. And thirdly, basically it's a result of it, therefore we would need an internationally accepted accreditation. The first A, the affirmation. We have an MOU with the SHTA, which we are very thankful for, and which has been proven very fruitful. That's since March 2015, so that's like an endorsement, so we're very happy with that. But based on that endorsement, we were able to put our students on internships in the main hotels on the island. And that's where the affirmation comes in, because all these students that have done their internship basically all got a job offer at the end of it. And that's for us a very strong point that basically what we are training our students is what is needed. Articulation. We have only 2 years. We do an associate of hospitality and tourism management. Many students, of course, want to continue after that, so we have to make sure that we smooth that road for them. We've been working on articulation agreements with universities in the region, and we have, of course, the connection with University of the Virgin Islands, which is in the region, but which is actually also here, because as you know, we have now the UVI at USM. We have an articulation with Monroe College, New York. As you can see, we have even a combined joint brochure with them. And we have an articulation agreement with Johnson & Wales University. And well, for those who have known USM for a while, that's basically where we all started. And so that means that our students can easily transfer to obtain their bachelor or even master's degree after having reached their associate with us. Then we get to the final one, the accreditation. We had to decide how we wanted to get the accreditation done. And that was not an easy question, because we had to compare different systems and do the pros and cons. We had to look at the system in the States, we had to look at the system in the Netherlands, and we had to take it wider, as in Europe, where we looked at the UK. Let me first have a look at the one in the USA, the SACS, that's the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. The good part about that is that they do out of territory accreditations, meaning that they could actually fully accredit USM. So that's the plus. On the downside, however, if we get an accreditation through them, it would still be an American associate degree. It's getting a bit technical, I'm sorry, but that's the way we have to do this. Which is unfortunately not always comparable to the European associate degree. So that would be the downside for getting accredited through them. So we looked further, and we ended up at NVAO. The Nederlands-Vlaamse Accreditatieorganisatie, so that means Netherlands-Flanders Accreditation Organization. There's a good side about them, because if we would get our programs accredited through them, we would have a European associate degree, and therefore students could continue in the Netherlands towards their bachelor. But there's also a downside to it. The NVAO is not allowed to do out-of-territory accreditations, and the Sint Maarten is considered out of territory. It's not the Netherlands, it's not Flanders. So we would not get a full accreditation, we could only get a positive recommendation, which is not the same thing. So we had to keep looking. And we found in the UK the system where they have the qualification and credit framework, which basically adds up. They do both. So they have the same level. I'll get to the levels on the next slide. So it would be a European associate degree, where at the same time they also do out-of-territory accreditation, so we can get their full-fledged accreditation. So far, you still with me? Nobody's falling asleep yet? Okay. So that led then to the accreditation. We've been working very hard, because we started in April 2014. We started 25 years ago, but we started with this process April 2014, and on the 20th of August, so a couple of weeks ago, a month ago right now, we finally got note that yes, we made it and we are accredited. Accreditation then again comes in two strings. First of all, we had to get the center accredited, so the university, the facilities. And then secondly, we had to get the program accredited. And we now have the center accredited, and we have the hospitality and tourism management program accredited as well. That means, yeah, thank you. I felt exactly the same way when I was reading that letter, yes. So we can now offer an HNC and an HND. There's a lot of abbreviations, there's more to come, which means a higher national certificate and a higher national diploma. Those are British qualifications. And they are all accredited at level 5, according to the QCF, which is the British Accreditation Foundation, but more importantly also via the EQF, which is the European Qualification Framework. Let me show you what that all means. That means the following. If you come from secondary school on St. Maarten, you at the bottom right there, it's like the level 4, and you enroll in USM, then in 2 years, you would receive, if you pass everything successfully, of course, yeah, you would receive an associate degree of USM, but attached to that, you would receive a higher national certificate after 2 years, which makes it a level 5. With that, you could then easily go to the States and get your bachelor's in 2 more years. You can also continue to the UK, or wider Europe, and obtain your European bachelor in 2 years. You can also stay with us for another year, which of course we strongly advise. Yes? Because if you stay with us, then in the next year, the 3rd year, you would qualify to get the HND, which is the Higher National Diploma, which is a 3-year program. And after that, you can go to the UK and get your bachelor in 1 year. So you would only have to leave the island for a year. Still get your international experience, and then don't forget to come home. Yes? Almost there, almost there. Just to give you an overall picture of what it all means, because there's a lot of levels and there's a lot of abbreviations, and we already have a very complex education system in St. Maarten. So I just put in one picture all the different levels that we now are actually offering here on the island and how it builds up, because it's become a pretty complete picture. As a result of the European Qualification Framework, nobody is allowed to leave school without having a starting qualification, and that's where the levels come in. So you need to have at least a PSVE or VSBO, which is the same thing, Dutch English, level. Yes, so you need to have a level 1, which could be VSBO, level 1, or it could be SBO. So PSVE or SVE. You could have a level 2, which is like PKL, TKL. Level 3 is basically only available through SBO. Or you could have a level 4. And then you talk about all the different ones we have on St. Maarten, HAVO, CXC, or SBO level 4. What in the European platform is not available, but what the Netherlands has introduced is a 4+. And we see that by VWO or CAPE or IB diploma program. After all those levels, that's when you can go and enroll in a level 5. So that's what we're offering right now at USM, where the HNC and the HND come in. Or in the olden, more common language, an associate. And then you take it to level 6, a bachelor, which we also offer via the UVI at USM, or a level 7, which is a master's. And in the end, of course, there's a doctorate, which we're not offering yet. Okay, we're working on it.
My name is Dr. Gittens, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about today about the American Hotel Lodging and Educational Institution and what that means of us becoming a global partner. A little bit about my background. Currently hold a bachelor's in political science, a master's in education, and a PhD in business management. I say that to say that out of 12 individuals globally, the ALHEI has been authorized by our board to select me to become a CHE master trainer. There are only 12 of those in the country. So when you see other organizations offering similar programs regarding hospitality, know that USM is and will remain to be the capital because we are qualified to deliver those services. In 2016, we will also be offering the CHE certification for a hospitality individual that can actually deliver various trainings throughout their organizations and throughout the Eastern Caribbean. A little bit about Shell. I am currently appointed to be the Shell Director. That means that we are constantly building human capital on the island of St. Maarten. We are offering select trainings based on the culture, the vision, and the mission of organizations to frontline employees, supervisors, and managers. The ALHEI will be developed under Shell and also addressed to Shell regarding the professionals that are interested in hospitality and businesses, as well as the organizations. You may ask yourself, what is the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute? It was established in 1953. It is the premier source for delivering quality hospitality education, training, professional certification that serve the needs of hospitality schools and industries worldwide. So it's a pretty big deal, in case you didn't notice that. Okay? Here is what we've already established on the island of St. Martin. We have addressed every island on the Eastern Caribbean with this opportunity. It is for individuals as well as organizations. It is a certified guest service professional certification, which means that we are authorized, and Mr. Waltis did not give himself enough credit. This gentleman has worked long days and long nights in many efforts to make us a BTech center, and is the reason why I've had opportunities with ALHEI. So if we can give him a round of applause and acknowledge all the work he's done. As you can see, this training is established for November 18th. We already have half the room filled, and we have addressed, as I mentioned before, every island throughout the Eastern Caribbean. So that's St. Kitts, Statia, and Gwilla. They're coming from all over. And so the philosophy of Shell is that we are the vehicle of excellence, and we are now the hospitality capital on the island of St. Martin. What does that mean for us past the affiliations of ALHEI on our hospitality level? We are now officially announcing today, with the help of the Honorable Board, that we are now a global academic partner. That means out of only 3 other organizations throughout the world, we will be the partner offering several different major course curriculums to the business community and professionals. Here's an exact quote that, please bear with me, that came from the Vice President of ALHEI that was addressed to myself, the President and the Board, and it reads, GAP, Global Academic Partner License, is our most prestigious license, and only select universities and colleges are part of it, among which the Switch Education Group, USIL in Peru, Taylor University in Malaysia, BHI in China, Haag Helia in Finland, etc. Shell at USM will be one of only 3 other GAPs delivering our programs, the other being Sandals Corporate University, based in Jamaica, and EPI in Aruba, the government university. Your strategic location in St. Martin will enable for our organization to act on our behalf as a center of hospitality education and training for the southern eastern part of the Caribbean, which we would greatly welcome. And that came from the Vice President of ALHEI. Now, you may ask yourself, so what does that really mean for St. Martin? What does that really mean for you as the director administering from Shell, along with additional 5 other instructors? And for those of you who don't know, the board has worked very diligently because all of our instructors in the division and the department and the programs that Mr. Waltis mentioned are all certified hospitality educators. So what does that mean? That is a 4-day workshop or training that is very intense from 8 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night, with an examination that takes place on the last day of 100 questions that you have to pass. And please be proud that St. Martin's Hospitality Division has all 3 of their faculty as CHE certified master trainers. I won't go much further because I know we have a tight agenda. I did showcase to you the Certified Guest Service Professional that we are already going to be offering. Come the first of the year, we will be offering all of the other ones: the Course Hospitality Management Diploma, Course Food and Beverage Management Diploma, Course Hospitality Operations Certificate, Course Hospitality Fundamental Program, and the Course Certificate of Specialization. What does that mean in a nutshell? That means USM has now established Shell as the direct business arm to the St. Martin community and throughout the Eastern Caribbean. That then is extended to ALHEI, which automatically and directly makes a stronger St. Martin. Our intent is to establish Shell throughout the Eastern Caribbean, so not only we as an island can benefit, but we will also take it to the next level of also supporting other islands throughout the Eastern Caribbean and becoming that flagship university.
Yes, so it's a great occasion because we have gotten our international accreditation with the UK and we have gotten our professional recognition through the USA. I would like to actually now, before we go into the Q&A with the panel members, just like to thank a few persons. And I'm going to start with Mr. Dexter Fraser, Annette, Raymond. Can I see Mr. Dexter Fraser? Can we give him a hand? And Annette. These are persons of the facilities of USM, and they work enormously hard. And without them, we could actually not do what we do. The other persons I'd like to thank are Ms. Patricia Janssen and Claudius Boosman. Of our Student Service Center. Ms. Glenda Brazier, our registrar. There she is. And then there is Ms. Urta Kruidenhof and our event manager, Valda Woodley Hazel. She organized this for us. And now I go to our academics. There are three people I'd like to single out as far as the education is concerned. And that is Ms. Patricia Lawrence. I would like you to stand, please. Dr. Maria van Enkelvoort. And Ms. Sharon Freiberg. As you know, the USM has a BA in education, and without these three ladies, it would not be possible. They work enormously hard to keep it going. We also have a general liberal arts, of which the coordinator is Ms. Patricia Arundel. There she is. And then, before we finish with the rounds of thank yous for the USM, there is one person who is my counterpart, the MFO of the organization. And whilst we were trying, starting in September or in August, to get this accreditation going, I had to go by him constantly and tell him, I need you to work your magic so I can have some funds. And he worked his magic. Mr. Robert Budeke. As far as the government is concerned, there are MPs, many of them are not here today, who have been faculty of the USM, who have worked diligently for the USM, lobbying for the USM. And I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Tamara Leonard, the Minister Claret Connor, MP Silveria Jacobs, MP Cornelius de Wever. I know you have a more fancy name, but I can never remember it. MP Leona Marlin Romeo. And an MP that still teaches at the USM. He was here 2 days ago, Mr. Maurice Lake. And I would also like to thank the Minister, Ms. Rita Bourne-Gums, because she has offered 2 promises to the USM, which are very important. She has said, I am going to be the minister that recognizes this institution. That is important. And as a USM alumni, she has said, I know that we have to up the subsidy and I will work for that to happen.
First of all, let me offer congratulations to the University of St. Maarten, the president and the board, for yet another milestone on behalf of my person and the government of St. Maarten. Secondly, I will go on the record as saying, I did have my support team, Dr. Guadalupe, working night and day so I can have a surprise for you today. However, they did not work weekends, so we did not complete our task. So we're hoping, and I will go on the record as saying, that within 2 weeks that the government of St. Maarten can give the recognition to the University of St. Maarten. I believe when you see the work and the progress that the university has gained over the last years, we cannot withstand by not granting you what you truly deserve. So again, congratulations, and we will soon speak.
They have been instrumental in actually making sure that we go for the accreditation of the hospitality program. And that is the SHTA. And I think we have to recognize their importance for St. Maarten in pushing and making sure the hospitality industry professionalizes itself much more. The last person I would like to mention, and the very last person I would like her to stand up, is Miss Veronica Arundel of Dutch Quarter. And I invited her here because, to me, this is a person that symbolizes the potential of St. Maarten. Because I know few people who can embody the two cultural virtues that you need to keep in creative tension here on St. Maarten. And I call those the culture of the Bible and the culture of the domino table. I'll explain to you why I mean these two. The culture of the Bible is that many people say people of St. Maarten or the Caribbean do not read. And whenever I hear that, I say, I know it's a lie, because I know many people in the Caribbean that are constantly reading their scripture, or they read their Quran, or the Gitas. They read. It is not so that they do not read. And in reading, they have an imagination, a future orientation, and it is less place-centered. And then there's another group that is of the culture of the domino table. That is the culture of orality, the culture of being outsmarting the other, of good communication, of skills. And when I was a youngster, I was 16 when I came to St. Maarten, there was one person I would go to often to play domino or 500 or roam me with, and she would also say, and you must read as well. And that was Miss Vero.